Did you hear about the Moody's credit rating thing? I mean, you might not have, since it was squished between Nicola Willis making weird performative noises in Parliament
Because it's actually not true.
Are you alright?
while Chippy spoke, and then demanding an apology that she then walked away from accepting for being asked if she was okay because of the weird noises she was making. Sounds a bit like playing up for the media and her Twitter friends to me, and a bit weird to everyone in the House who kept asking if she was okay. Or the apology demanded by Nicola Willis for a comment from Shane Jones that involved her recent weight loss, which Jones has apologised for. He hasn't apologised for his rash of racist lines about butter chicken tsunamis on a disinformation-spreading conspiracy network, or his lines about ethnic vacuum cleaners, for getting his base so riled up that they're sending death threats to national treasures while he misleads them about oil drilling and refining locally. No one in the party's had to apologise for bringing back smoke-friendly policy based on notes that mysteriously appeared on the desk of Hobson's Pledge's own Casey Costello, or Peter's own abuse and targeting of a non-binary MP, the rainbow community, or even Corin Dan. But an apology here is a start, and it means that we've finally found a line that's too far for Winston, who asked for the apology. Sure, he's happy to see kids get cancer from smoking and trans people put in harm's way, but mentioning someone's weight is just a step too far. Anyway, the Moody's downgrade. It's not actually a downgrade. The goodwill built up by the Labour government before this one is running out, though, and that's what the message was that was being sent. So it's a warning that if we don't change our ways, we will be downgraded, and that investors need to be kind of wary about doing business here, and especially with doing business with the government. Nicola Willis says, for some weird reason, this is evidence that we should keep doing what we're doing. That got us the warning. Reality is clearly very different. Moody's actually specifically mentioned several elements exacerbated by the coalition as the reason for the warning. The delayed return to surplus, the increased debt levels, and the persistent inflation rates, which have been sitting over 3% for a couple of quarters now, are all mentioned, as well as the uncertainty from the oil crisis from the Middle East, which, isn't their fault. But they did blame all of the international financial impacts of COVID on the economy at Labour's feet last time, so I guess this falls under their purview based on their own logic, right? Anyway, the warning comes now for a really clear reason. Basically, the budget is about a month away, and so it's a bit of a warning not to deliver an unbalanced budget that doesn't have evidence of debt reduction and fiscal consolidation. But since the way to fixing this involves doing a bunch of things the coalition refused to do, or, stopping things that they're doing right now that they were warned not to, you remember those 20 economists telling Nicola Willis that she needs to stop doing what she was doing? This is the result of that. Anyway, one of the problems is that the coalition narrowed the tax base. Basically, they don't get enough money. They need more ways to bring money in, and the best ways for a government to do this are to raise taxes, put in a CGT or a land value tax. They create a more stable income stream for the government. And Nicola Willis would rather swim at Moa Point than admit CGT could ever be of any use. But on top of that, the interest deductibility for landlords and those tax breaks are what we call revenue leakage. Basically, we couldn't afford for the poorest people to get an extra $2 a week, but they did it anyway despite the warnings. They could also invest debt into more infrastructure projects that increase productivity, like light rail in Auckland, solar and wind farms, or public housing, because this stimulates long-term tax revenue growth, eventually paying for itself. And as we know, these are all things cut by the current government to pay for those tobacco company kickbacks. The one policy, though, that National is keen on that might help is actually one of their most unpopular ones, raising the age of retirement. With humans living longer and the baby boomer generation hitting retirement where we see a big burst of more people being around, the cost of super increases, and raising that age for super reduces that cost. But this is also something that's generally unpopular here. We could also look at recommendations from the Social Welfare Working Group a few years back that moves our social welfare system from a poverty trap to a simplified model that focuses on incentivizing a return to work and cares for the needs of those who can't. But, as we know, poor people and those on benefits can go screw themselves, which I think is the official government policy as it's written down in cabinet papers. Basically, if we properly invested the money we borrowed to build a better Aotearoa, we wouldn't be staring down the barrel of a credit downgrade on the eve of the budget, and we'd be better placed to handle the rough times like we're seeing with the fuel crisis. But instead, the government borrows $20 billion for tax cuts, wasted money on cancelled ferries, road cone hotlines and tobacco kickbacks, increased the deficit to $17 billion, but made up a new way to measure debt so they can pretend it's less and are spending more than they earn along the way, while they all seem to pay, or we all seem to pay more for things, which increases the amount of GST that they take, but that's still not enough to cover the fiscal hole because it's not stable enough, unlike a CGT. Maybe seeing how badly she has screwed over the economy by refusing to do anything right, according to the experts who told her otherwise, maybe that's what's led to those weird noises that we heard Willis make in Parliament. I'm sorry, I probably shouldn't say they were weird noises. I should just apologise now before she storms off and refuses to accept an apology if she was genuinely upset by it. Oh, hey there, podcast listeners. Thanks for checking out today's podcast, whether that's on video or audio. I really appreciate it. And I did finally get around to doing a podcast end tag, which I've been meaning to do for a while instead of just taking you onto the Facebook version. So while you're here, why not hit that subscribe button so that you can get updates coming in directly every time there's a new episode uploaded. Just seems like a really simple way to keep up to date with all of the crazy that's going on. So yeah, give that a shot and I'll talk to you soon.